Hidden within the vast citrus farms of Litsitele, just 60 kilometers from the Kruger National Park, we find Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center. Here, owner Emma Deyache and her team of volunteers rescue, rehabilitate, and release many of South Africa's orphaned animals, even the dangerous ones.
I'm just going to see if he's going to come. Hello.
This is Cornelius, a 9-month-old caracal. These elusive solitary cats are half the size of a leopard, but have similar large paws and long, powerful legs. Their most distinguishing feature are their large, tufted ears, which they use to detect birds, rodents, and small game hiding in the long grass. Today, after 8 months in rehab, Cornelius is finally ready to be released back into the wild. But it's been a tough journey to get to this point.
It's a sad story. So they captured a pregnant female, waited for her to give birth, then killed the female to take the kitten for themselves to hand raise. Luckily for him, he came when he was young, not even a month old. He was teeny tiny, still on the bottle drinking milk. And then he came to us and we've slowly kind of got him through the rehab process and he's ready to go.
Cornelius is now at an age where most caracals become independent in the wild. And like most wild cats, caracals are highly territorial, something that Emma recently experienced firsthand.
The only reason we're going to the enclosures with the animals when they're in that last stage is to clean. And as I kind of stepped down, he felt very threatened and decided that he did not want me there. So he did attack me. This was the first time he's ever attacked me and it was terrifying. So he did go for the jugular, which is exactly what they would do to an animal in the wild. That's how they take down their prey. But luckily I managed to get him down. He scratched up and bit my back and then my leg got a lot of trauma to it. Luckily, Catherine was on hand and she came in to help me and we managed to get out.
This unfortunate attack was simply an animal defending the only territory it's known, and a clear sign to Emma that Cornelius is ready for release.
I've now seen that attachment between me and him, mother and son, if that's what you want to call it, is broken and that he is ready to go off by himself.
Cornelius's new home is on a 400 square kilometer private game reserve, just an hour's drive from the center. But before they can release him,
an eye out, guys.
They first have to catch him. The plan is to bait Cornelius into a trap cage. Once the touch plates are triggered, the door slams shut. But they only have one chance.
Hello. Morning, Cornelius. Cornelius has come up to the cage. You can definitely smell the chicken. He's apprehensive to go in there. We have been feeding him in this cage for the last couple of weeks to get him kind of used to this cage being here.
Success.
I think at that moment, I stopped breathing as he started walking in. I'm not sure he knows exactly what's happening to him today, but I think once we're at the release site and he can see his new area and surroundings, he's going to love it. Enjoy it, I think. This has been the easiest capture and moving that I've ever actually been part of. I think maybe Cornelius is saying sorry for the attack. That, yeah, he's a bit remorseful now. 1, 2, 3.
It's now a race against time to get Cornelius safely to the release site. The stress and movement during the transport can be too much for some animals. And as the day heats up, so will the temperatures inside the crate. Any delay could cost Cornelius his life. Emma and the young caracal finally arrive at his new release site. After the long journey, Emma is eager to get Cornelius out of the crate and into his temporary soft enclosure.
Once we are able to see that these animals can thrive in the wild, that's when we can go to the next step, which is a soft release. It's a really, really long process. People don't understand how long, and especially when they're pets or they're brought in when they're little.
Here, Cornelius will spend a few weeks settling in and adjusting to his new environment.
Me and Cornelius do not really get along, so I'm happy to see him in there, but yes, I'm going to stand quite far back for this one because I think after the journey he's not too happy with me.
Despite her attack, it's never easy to say goodbye to an animal you've raised by hand.
Hello, sweet pea. I'm actually really surprised. He's come straight out of the box. You can see that he's a little bit skittish and he's kind of low to the ground, which is to be expected. But I think now he's going to go and explore this camp. It's quite a big camp, so he's going to go and smell everything and see everything. It's always hard when you're raising these animals. You have to know that at one point they don't want you anymore. And that's great. That's exactly what we want for them, but it's not fun either.
In the next few weeks, once Cornelius is comfortable in his new surroundings, the door to this enclosure will be left open, and when he is ready, he can once again roam free and wild.
He'll get more in a little bit.
While this newborn is just beginning his rehabilitation, there are some other bush babies at the center that are getting ready for their release. All 5 bush babies arrived at Moholoholo just 6 months ago and have grown up together. Becky's here for their daily health check and to give them a goodbye treat.
They all came in as tiny orphans, and one of them actually came in very close to not making it. He was so cold and so weak, but now, as you can see, they're all nice and big and healthy.
Now fully grown, these nocturnal primates are capable of surviving on their own in the wild. Their big eyes have developed to track insects in low light, while their large ears work like radar dishes to zero in on prey. Their now powerful legs allow them to leap over 2 meters, 12 times their body length, the equivalent of a human jumping the width of a soccer pitch. In the wild, they'll use this incredible agility to evade predators or snatch flying insects out of the air.
So we have a light that we put on here at night, so they learn to catch themselves. So obviously the bugs are attracted to the light.
In the next few weeks, the newborn bush baby will move into this enclosure where he too can learn to jump, hunt, and become more independent before his release. Over the years, Becky has noticed a steady rise in orphaned bush babies arriving at the center, but it's not always because of humans.
Due to the overpopulation of elephants in this area and in South Africa, they cause a lot of habitat destruction just because there's so many of them. We're losing so many big trees that these guys used to sleep in and build their nests where they have their babies, so the numbers are starting to decline. That's why also a lot of people find them in their thatch roofs and things, same with squirrels, because there's less big trees around.
With safe release sites few and far between, it's vital that the bush babies are in peak physical condition before they leave.
They all look really healthy, there's no injuries, they all also seem to be getting on well, no starting territorial fights or anything like that. So as soon as their release site is finalised, they'll move there for a soft release.
In the next few days, these bush babies will be back in the wild where they belong. As the sun sets across Hoedspruit, it's time for the 5 bush babies from Moholoholo to be released back into the wild. Nikita Jackson, one of the center's senior staff, has chosen a nearby wildlife estate where there are plenty of large trees.
So basically what we did with these bush babies is we soft release them, and we tried to do this with the most of the animals we get in. Especially if we raise them as a baby, they've never been in their natural environment. So you want to give this animal the best chance of survival.
For the last 2 weeks, the bush babies have been acclimatizing to their new environment, from the safety of a cage in a residence garden, learning the new smells and sounds.
How have they been eating?
The first day I could tell they were a bit weird, but the last couple of days they eat everything. But they've been eating very well. I'm still listening a lot to all the sounds. I can tell them moving their head around. We have a lot of frogs in the pond, so they hear that. And of course a dog barks every now and again. But yeah, I think they're ready. I mean, they're very mobile and they're really confident. And they got a nice tree here, so I hope they're ready to go in there.
It's time to open up the door.
Hey, little ones. Let me see if I can do this for you. Will you come see? Hey, will you come? Shall we let you guys be? Okay, you figure it out. Let's let them go. Yeah, see what happens.
After 6 months in rehab, it's a strange new world out there.
Look at him! Oh wow!
But eventually curiosity takes over.
It's always the best part when they go.
Yeah.
And it can be...
It's worth all the troubles and night feeds and all the hard work.
One by one, all 5 of the bush babies disappear into the night, free and wild again.
They're releasing very well. They all left the cage. They're bouncing around. We actually saw this one catching a moth right now, and it's really nice to see these animals in their natural environment. All the hard work is all paid off. It's such a nice feeling to see this.
The cage door will remain open, allowing the bush babies to return to feed or just to feel safe, until they're ready to venture out alone, find a territory, and start a family of their own. Rosie's been isolated in sick bay for the last few weeks, and it's time to see if she's got the all clear. Only with a clean bill of health can she continue her rehabilitation.
She's a really beautiful little animal. She's a lively personality. When you can heal the animal back to health again, that is really a beautiful feeling. So I'm really ecstatic for the progress that Rosie has shown thus far, to such a point where we can actually discharge her from clinic today and put her back into the enclosure.
Rosie can now rejoin her troop, who's waiting for her in this temporary enclosure before they're released into a large, semi-wild forest. But one volunteer is finding it hard to let go. Steve has had a special bond with Rosie from the first day she arrived.
We can't choose which baboons we want to love, they have to choose us. I was lucky enough, Rosie chose me, and when she goes back in there, she goes back to forming the troop. But I suspect they're all going to be quite curious about the wound and have a good look at her. Hopefully there shouldn't be any problem. I think it's been about 3 weeks or thereabouts while she's been out. She's actually quite a high-ranking animal in the group that she's going into, so I'm very much hoping that she'll just settle straight back in there.
Tiger is the dominant male of the troop, and it's up to him if Rosie is accepted back or not.
But I can tell you now, it's going to break my heart if I go in there and they start picking on her.
It's the last opportunity for Steve to say goodbye. Once Rosie and the others are released from this temporary enclosure, human contact is forbidden.
Rosie, come in.
But first, Tiger needs to accept her.
Come on, good boy, come here. You're in charge, aren't you? Who are these people then? It's all your friends again, aren't they? Who's this? Is this Tiger? There you go. You're the only one in here, all purple. Go on, Tiger, be nice to her. Be nice.
Does Tiger approve?
Me? Oh, wait.
It's a huge relief for Steve.
If she can bond with Tiger again, then she'll be well accepted because, as I say, Tiger's in charge, and if he accepts her straight back, there won't be an issue. He's very interested in what's going on. Aren't you, big boy? Aren't you? Hey, come on. They thoroughly enjoy jumping all over you, and you become part of their playing equipment, their climbing equipment. But they all love us to bits. They enjoy being with us, don't they? And Rosie's abandoned me now, hasn't she? Which is a good thing.
And the perfect time for Steve to make an exit.
Bye-bye, Ben. Bye-bye, darling. Bye-bye.
Now, reunited, Rosie and Tiger, along with the rest of the troop, will move out of this enclosure and into one of the large, semi-wild forests before their final release back into the wild. Meanwhile, over at Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center, Emma has received an urgent call for a mysterious arrival.
We're just on the way to our local vet. She just gave me a ring and someone brought in a puppy, but we're suspecting it's not. So I'm just going to go and have a look and identify it. Sometimes the animals have in fact been abandoned by the mother because there is something wrong with the baby. The mothers have sensed it and they have abandoned to kind of carry on with the rest of the litter.
Or perhaps she was the victim of a hit and run, a man-made snare or a farmer's bullet. Either way, this little one is all alone.
How are you? I'm good.
They thought it was a puppy, and it's not a puppy.
No.
So I just wanted to have a look, and then yeah, a little male.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a jackal.
Okay.
With the white tail like this, it's a side-stripe jackal.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I mean, we don't get these often.
Not too many around this
Okay.
side.
He's
And
gorgeous.
definitely the lesser of the two.
Yes.
Where did they find him?
They said it's at the side of the road. They actually picked him up, and they thought it was a puppy. So they just wanted to, come and have a general examination, make sure he's safe and, friendly, and yeah.
Are you going to come back with us, huh? Okay, perfect. Right, let's get you back to the centre.
To make sure the baby jackal has no underlying conditions, Emma will monitor him for the next few weeks.
Now, unfortunately, he's been away for a couple of days, so we won't be able to put him back with his mum, but he can come to the centre. We will get him in the rehab process and get him back out into the wild as soon as possible.
Luckily, this orphan was found in time and handed in, giving him the best chance of survival. Without his mother's milk, the little pup must be starving, but he first needs to get checked in.
Right, let's have a little look at you. Hello. Hello, you're ridiculously cute. Alrighty. So whenever an animal comes in, we're just going to do a checkup. Even though they've been to the vets, we're just going to have a little look here also. Okay. Tummy does feel a little bit big, but the vet did actually give a deworming. So I'm sure there are a few worms that are going to come out. Yes. And then we are just going to weigh you as well. Okay, sweetheart, don't wriggle. Stay still. 1.17. Good job, sweetheart. So the next step for you is, I'm sure you're very hungry, aren't you? Yes. So we want him to go onto the bottle. He would still be drinking milk at this age. So the next step is to make up the formula and try and get him drinking. What do you reckon? Yeah.
To make sure he's getting all the vital nutrients he needs, a formula mix is used and warmed to replicate his mother's body heat. Probiotics are also added to help prevent diarrhea, one of the biggest causes of dehydration and death in newborns. Therefore, it's critical the little jackal drinks.
Milk time. Hi, are you hungry? Oh, you're hungry. Right, let's see. There we go. Let's see, come on.
It's not always easy for a wild animal to take to a bottle.
So when animals first come in, this is so new to them. The teat's different, the milk's different, so they always take a little while to get them drinking. It's a slow process and you have to be super patient, don't you? Yeah, but we'll get there.
This may take some practice.
It is important we do get him onto drinking and fluids as soon as we can. So you just have to, little by little, try and try again until he gets the hang of it. Come on.
Emma will try again every 2 hours, day and night, just like he'd be fed in the wild.
This isn't perfect. I would love him to start drinking, but this is expected. It happens all the time. So we will try him in a little bit, and it's just important we make sure he doesn't get dehydrated.
Play is also a key part of his rehabilitation.
We need to be with him so he feels secure and confident. He needs to grow his confidence like he would in the wild, because that's how they go on and they learn how to hunt, for instance. He's out in the bush, in nature, doing exactly what a jackal should be doing.
The little jackal pup settles into his temporary home, where he'll get the care and attention he deserves. Only time will tell if he has any underlying illness. Back at Umoya, there's one baby that is coming on in leaps and bounds. The side-striped jackal has grown into a strong and healthy pup. He is now in a pre-release enclosure where he has the space he needs without daily one-on-one human contact.
He's healthy, he's happy, he's eating, so all good signs. Obviously, sometimes we just have to wait and see, but for now I would say he's 100% releasable. He is naughty, actually, like a puppy should be. He is playing and he's got a great little character on him, and really, this is the first side-striped jackal I've raised, and they're amazing little ones.
Soon, Emma will cut off all human contact, and they'll find a safe release site where this young jackal can once again roam free in the wild. And this morning, owner Emma Dayaga is coming to say goodbye to 3 orphan warthogs she's hand-raised for the last 18 months.
Hi. Okay, where's the others? Okay. No name, Patricia, come on. No name, Patricia, come on. So we're just gonna feed the warthogs. We have 3 warthogs in here, 2 males and 1 female. These guys are getting ready for release tomorrow, so we're super excited. They've been with us for about 1.5 years. They will actually be going into a boma, so they can get used to the surroundings. A boma is a structure where we can put them in just so they can feel calm, get settled, and then after a week or so, we'll let them out to explore their new home. Percy came into us and he was teeny tiny.
Percy was only a week old when he was found abandoned by the side of a swimming pool, while Patricia was kept as a pet for 1 year, living, sleeping, and eating with the residents' dogs. But No Name arrived in the worst condition.
He was one of the worst animals that's actually ever come into the centre. He was kept in a predator park. He was emaciated, he was dehydrated. He hadn't been given the right diet because they had just shoved him in with some tigers. I don't know how he made it. All he had to eat were the scraps that they had, so just a bit of meat here and there.
Warthogs are omnivores, but meat only makes up a tiny part of their diet. So without plenty of grasses and roots, they can't survive.
He had a lot of deficiencies, rickets being one of them. His legs were completely bowed at the back, and he would walk a couple of steps and then completely buckle down, and it was absolutely heartbreaking to see. And he was petrified of us. You know, all he knew from humans was pain and suffering. So it really took a long time to gain his trust.
Despite their different and tragic starts in life, Percy, Patricia, and No Name have grown up together at Umoya and developed into strong, healthy, and happy warthogs. Emma has found a private game reserve far away from any humans and predators, where all 3 can be released together.
So today is the day that we are finally releasing our 3 warthogs. So we're going to get them in the boxes and then we can get them to the release site.
But before they can take them to their forever home, Emma and the team first need to catch them. Despite being hand-raised, these are still wild animals, and a warthog is not something to mess around with.
Right, let's just grab the next one.
Now fully grown, they each weigh over 100 kilograms, and when threatened, warthogs can reach speeds of nearly 50 kilometers per hour. While their long, razor-sharp canine tusks, which they use to excavate roots and tubers from the ground, can also cause serious damage. So Emma has a plan.
They are food orientated, so we're going to use some food to try and lure them in the boxes. And then once we've got them in the boxes, we can then take them over to the release site. Right, so first we actually are going to try and bait these guys into these travel boxes. We have corn here. It's their favourite thing. So Catherine's going to open this one and we're just kind of going to show them what we have. This is, yeah. And I'm going to throw it right back there. We might need a couple more. Okay, what's this? Up high, so they're a little bit hesitant. It's always weird going into a dark kind of space that they're not used to, but I'm hoping their tummies will, okay. All right, bring that one down. Lovely. Okay, one caught, 2 to go. Let's move on to this one. Fenna, do you want to grab this door? Percy has gone in first, which is great. I'm not surprised. He loves his food. So yeah, he's in.
Next up is Patricia.
Okay, stop bringing it. Oh, so close. Sorry, guys, that was me. Come on, Patricia.
After watching Percy, Patricia needs some extra encouragement.
Okay, I'm gonna try going around from the other side. Yeah, that's it. Come on. What's this? What's this? Yeah. We good? Okay, number 2.
And now for No Name, the biggest and strongest of the 3.
He's the big one, and he's out of the 3, he's the naughty one. Oh. Getting a little angry in there, so let's see if we can get him in. No Name. Come on, sweet pea. Oh, I think you need to go higher if you can. What's this? Chugga, 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 chugga. Hiya. There you go. Oh, yeah, go. Okay. So we've got 3 warthogs. They're not too happy to be in the boxes, so we're going to load them straight away onto the vehicles and get them to the release site.
But No Name is not going down without a fight.
Devora, you okay?
And he wants out.
Oh no! Oh! Oh, No Name. Oh, as you can see, warthogs are ridiculously strong animals, and he did not want to go in this box, and he has destroyed a pretty strong travel box. So like always, we have to make 100 plans with animals, so plan 2.
Despite the breakout, there is no time to waste. As the day heats up, so will the temperatures inside the crates. It's critical they get Percy and Patricia to the release site as quickly as possible.
Literally, with the stress, the heat and the movement, it just can become too much for animals and they can really, really suffer from it. So we have to be very careful and keep a very close eye on them.
As Catherine and the volunteers try to recapture No Name, Emma goes on ahead. It's a race against time to get the other 2 to the release site. Back at Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center, Emma and the warthogs arrive at the release site. This large private game reserve has plenty of space for the warthogs to run wild and, most importantly, no predators or humans.
Okay, so we Here at the release site, absolutely stunning. This is the boma here on the right-hand side, so we're just going to get these guys offloaded into the boma, and then we're going to just let them out, and they can relax here a little bit first. There we go. Let's just grab the other one.
Despite his valiant escape, the team recaptured No Name, and now all 3 are about to be released into their soft release enclosure. They'll remain here for a few days within the reserve to give them time to adjust to their surroundings.
Lovely, good, okay. So it's beautiful in here, lots of grass and lots of shade. So we're gonna let these guys out to explore. Okay. Oh, hello. So there's Percy. What do you reckon, Percy? And Patricia. No Name. They seem really calm. They're eating, which is a great sign. And I think they're just going to spend the rest of the day just exploring and smelling and listening. There's lots of new sounds and experiences that they've not had. So it's all going to be quite new to them.
As all 3 of the warthogs settle into their new home, it's a big moment for Emma to see No Name back in the wild.
I'm so proud of him because we got to watch him through those stages from the beginning of this completely broken animal to what he's become today, and let him live his life, which he's meant to, and hopefully not have to see a human again. That's really what we want from them.
After a week of acclimatizing to their new environment, the screens will be removed, and Percy, Patricia, and No Name will once again roam free. Meanwhile, just a stone's throw away, 3 other baby orphans are also ready to take their next step in the rehabilitation process. Nestled within the wild forests of northern Limpopo, we find the Vervet Monkey Foundation, a sanctuary specialized in the rehabilitation of over 600 vervet monkeys, orphaned, injured, abused, and unwanted pets. Director and veterinary nurse Josie Humble runs the sanctuary.
These monkeys are wild animals, and it's something that we always need to remember in the rehabilitation process. And what we found is if we hand raised them till 6 months old, we were kind of raising mini pets, and we do not advocate keeping primates as pets at all. We need them to live like nature intended, as themselves in a wild state.
Over the last 10 years, the centre has pioneered a new approach to rehabilitating orphaned baby vervets.
If you've been working with primates so long, you can kind of understand their behaviour a lot, and you can kind of get a feeling for what's going to work and what isn't. We want to do what's best for those orphans, and we believe that that is to get them as wild as possible, as quickly as possible, without human interference.
Now, at just 6 weeks old, babies are introduced to foster mums from existing troops before being integrated back into large, natural, semi-wild enclosures before their release. And today, 4 of this year's baby vervets are ready to be introduced to their new foster mums. At only 3 weeks old, Cupcake was left by the side of the road after her mother was killed in a hit and run, while Punim was recently found inside a leopard trap. And 5-week-old Brew, the oldest and most confident, was kept as a pet. Here in the centre's nursery, they learn to explore, become more confident, and most importantly, learn to feed themselves.
So the first thing we need to do is get these orphans on a bottle. Obviously, they're used to their mum's teats and not a bottle, so that already is a learning process for them.
Step by step, the caregivers slowly teach the babies to suckle from a bottle. Once in their large, semi-wild enclosures, these small feeding cages with 2 small holes in the front will allow the babies in and keep the adults out, protecting the orphans and their milk whenever they want to feed.
It's not an easy process. It's something that we've kind of learned ourselves over the years, but it works very well.
Now Cupcake, Punim and Brew can feed themselves. They're ready to move on to the next step of their rehabilitation. And joining them is 3-week-old Yelise.
Hey, you're a live wire today. Come on then. Okay, one more. Yelise. So, big event today for all 4.
They're going to enter a cage to meet mums through the fence. This is Yelise, and her mum was shot and she fell from a tree. When she came in, she had a bit of a bump on her head, but she's doing good now. So they've got their friends, they've got their social skills with the play, they've on a feeding cage, and now they're ready to move to the next stage and become completely hands-off from people around 6 weeks old.
It's time to meet their new foster mums. The 4 orphans are transported down to one of the sanctuary's large, natural, semi-wild forests and into the introduction enclosure. The new arrivals are already getting lots of attention. Vervets live in a matriarchal society where sisterhood is all-powerful. So the more high-ranking the foster mum, the better chance the orphans have of integrating into this 40-strong troop.
Paradise is the alpha female, and she was actually an orphan herself. So she's taken care of some babies before last year. So this is the stage they can get a little bit confused because they've been with humans and now they're meeting mums for the first time. But Poonam's gone straight up to paradise, which is great. So yeah, they're doing great. They're doing fantastic. And the babies have actually gone in to drink, which is really good because that tells me that the babies will actually be able to go over.
As the orphans start to settle in and feel more comfortable, it's time for Josie to leave and let the foster mums in. Mark, the sanctuary's animal manager, can control who first enters the introduction enclosure. The higher ranked the female, the better. And Paradise, the alpha female, is showing a lot of interest.
Okay, so alpha female Paradise is in.
If one of the orphans accepts Paradise, it'll guarantee their position in the troop. But despite the alpha female's willingness to embrace the youngsters, the little orphans are scared and anxious. Only time will tell if they accept her as their new surrogate mother. For some orphans to be released back into the wild safely, back at the Vervet Monkey Foundation, it's time to check up on the 4 orphans in the introduction enclosure. Over the last week, the little ones have been getting regular visits from various foster mums from the troop, slowly allowing them to get close. The alpha female Paradise has created a very special bond with Poonam, while another high-ranked female, Martha, has adopted the eldest orphan, Brew. This rewilding phase of their rehabilitation not only allows the orphans to create a maternal bond with their new surrogate mothers, but it also gives them time to fear humans again and learn their place within the Vervet strict matriarchal system.
It's incredibly satisfying and rewarding just to hand that baby over to where it's supposed to be. So once we have that foster mum giving the baby the first cuddles or the first touch after the baby's been crying, and then it actually finally gets its comfort from a monkey rather than a human, is just amazing, and it's just so rewarding.
In the next few weeks, once all the orphans have bonded, the surrogate mums will take these youngsters back into the large, semi-wild enclosure to meet their new family.
That's true rehabilitation, where we can put them back into a wild state, have a proper maternal bond, and then they've got a troop family that are accepted as if it's their own.
One scaly new orphan is also recovering from a near-fatal injury. This juvenile legovan or rock monitor was recently rushed into Mohuluhulu after it was attacked by a local resident's dog.
He came in the middle of the night. His intestines were hanging out of his abdomen. But lizards and reptiles are quite hardy animals, so he's already doing so much better than we assumed he was going to do.
After emergency surgery to close up the laceration, the juvenile lizard appears to have made a full recovery. But clinic nurses Becky Lambert and Nikita Jackson still need to remove his stitches before his release. Rock monitors are one of Africa's largest lizards and can grow up to 2 meters in length. Even this juvenile is strong enough to cause serious damage with its razor-sharp claws, powerful bite, and whip-like tail. So Becky and Nikita need to handle it with care.
So we've had the stitches in for 2 weeks now, So we're taking them out today, and then we'll maybe just give him today just to check how the wound goes, how he's moving, if nothing's going to open. And then if all's good and well, we can release him. We're even surprised he made it with the state that he came in with. He's picked up a lot of weight, which is great.
I think that's healed up pretty well. His skin looks like it's gone back together. So we're just trying to get the last stitch out. His skin is like closing up around the stitch, but we're getting there. Yeah, I think this is the last one.
With the stitches out, it's important to clean and seal the wound to make sure no flies or maggots get in once he's released.
Just a little bit. Yay. So this will help him. The flies won't bother him if this opens a little bit or anything like that. Okay, we're going to put him back in the box and get him ready for release. Let me bring you the box. Okay.
With the wound holding and after a belly full of food, the juvenile lizard is ready for release. Rock monitors are highly adaptable and found all over southern Africa, but their favorite place to live is by the water. Which is why Becky and Nikita have chosen to release this youngster on a dam in a nearby reserve. Here, he has everything he needs to recover from his surgery and settle into his new home.
Lovely. Okay.
It's amazing to see it walking away healthy. After the first night that when we were stitching it up, we honestly didn't even think the next morning when we went to check on it would be alive anymore. So to see him wander away after 2 weeks, it's really, really nice.
So this is the part of the job that makes it all worth it, because we work so hard on these animals. It's the most joyful feeling that we have, seeing these animals getting released back into the natural habitat.
Healing an animal back to health, ready for release, is the driving force behind all the animal rehab centers. Dr. Colin McRae, along with his family and dedicated team, run various wildlife awareness programs for animal conservation.
The general concern in the world is that people are populating the world. We're displacing, we're multiplying, getting more and more of us on this planet, and it's leaving less and less space for wildlife.
Colin believes that working and interacting with wild animals safely is one of the best tools to educate the general public on wildlife conservation. Today, Colin is out checking on a very special orphan that he's hand-raised since birth. Fenna is an 18-month-old giraffe. Despite towering over 2 meters tall, she is only a third of the size of an adult and still has lots of growing to do. Here in the reserve, she is free to explore and graze under the watchful eyes of her mother. But her start in life was not so simple. Last season, 2 of the female giraffes on the reserve gave birth, but Fenna's mother confused the other newborn for hers. In the chaos and fighting, Fenna was abandoned.
We got there and we looked carefully, and there was a little baby giraffe lying there. It was still struggling to get up. It was already had ants all crawling over it. And then you have the dilemma, what do? If you leave the little baby there, it's for sure going to die. The 2 females are fighting. She doesn't realize that her baby's lying there, and they would have just walked off. And that's the decision that you have to make then. What do we do now?
Colin and his son rushed the newborn calf back to the lodge. Using surrogate milk from a local dairy farmer, they eventually managed to get the calf to feed.
It was an absolute learning curve. It was not expected. We had no idea. We have raised various animals. We'd raised zebras and blue wildebeest and things like that. So we knew the basics, things like sterility and how to get them to drink and latching on. But you know that there's no record of anybody in South Africa having raised a giraffe from birth like that.
Over the next 15 months, the little calf grew stronger and more confident every day, becoming part of their family.
She would follow us around. She'd walk around the garden, the lodge gardens, and she liked company, but she wasn't dependent. It was a very strange thing. She would come into our house and just for friendship, just for company, not to come and get food.
As Fenna grew up, she ventured further into the reserve, and Colin knew it was time to reunite her with her mother.
She was about 1.5 years old, completely independent. She was starting to interact with the giraffe on the property already. It was so beautiful to watch it. She'd go up, they were starting to make friends, and that's a sign that she's going to be accepted by them. We were really excited.
Day by day, Colin would walk out into the reserve with Fenna to watch her reconnect with her mother and slowly break her human ties.
You have the reward where you raise an animal, you rehabilitate it, and you let it go, and off it goes into the wild. And that's the prize number 1 that you get.
Today, the young giraffe is feeding and roaming the reserve on her own, fully wild and free. During the rehabilitation process, the sooner orphans can be reunited with their own species, the better.
Hello. Okay, so this little baby banded mongoose, came in just yesterday. So tiny little thing, was found all alone by herself and the troop wasn't anywhere to be found. These are troop animals, so she needs to come down to us to build a troop so we can release her back into the wild.
Emma wants to see if this little one, who's around a month old, is ready to be weaned off milk and onto solids.
You ready for some feeding? So they would normally eat insects, bugs in the wild, also snakes. Today we have grasshoppers, so we're going to try with some of these today that we've caught and see what she thinks. Oh, that's a very good noise. Is that good? Isn't that nice? Okay.
In the wilds of Africa, there is safety in numbers, so banded mongoose live in large colonies, up to 60 strong, with complex social structures. They forage, eat, and sleep together, always on the lookout for any threats. Therefore, it's critical that Emma introduces this youngster to some of the older orphans that arrived earlier this year in the hope of starting a new troop.
We have to make sure that we have the right amount of females, males, and the ages, so it's a great cohesive troop and they can thrive in the wild. The males actually look after the babies much more than the females, and the females are the best at finding all the food and foraging as well. The hierarchy in them is dominant male, but the females are also very dominant in the troop, and what they say goes. So she is in a good position.
If the dominant male accepts her, it should secure her position in the new troop. But there is no guarantee.
We always have concerns whenever we're introducing animals together. There always is a little bit of fighting and it is nerve-wracking, and you just have to be really careful. We monitor them when we do put them together, so we're there to intervene if we have to.
If the meet and greet goes to plan, this little mongoose will be one step closer to having a new family. Back at Umoya, it's time for the baby mongoose to meet one of the larger, dominant males in the enclosure next door, in the hope of starting a new troop.
Okay, you ready, little girl? Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop her in her box, and we're gonna take her over in this first, so it will give him a chance to smell her first before he sees her. All right. Are you ready?
Male banded mongoose can be highly aggressive over territory, and often infighting occurs over food and breeding rights. So hopefully being female should give this little orphan the advantage. Understandably, it's off to a nervous start, before things take a turn for the worse.
As you can see, this is actually quite aggressive behaviour, and this spitting and spatting. And so it's really important that we're letting this mongoose here get a scent first before we bring them together.
Mongoose have a nasty bite, and their sharp teeth can kill lizards, birds, and even snakes. So Emma can't take any chances with the little orphan.
He is a male. Now, their hierarchy is actually very complicated, but the females are higher ranking. In this case though, it is easier for us to integrate the younger ones because he will take charge at the beginning because of his age. So it's not until she then kind of gets a little bit older that she'll take over. So at the moment she has to be submissive to him and that he will be the most dominant one, but that won't last for long. Okay, so we've been in here for a little bit and he is calming down. He's eating now, so that's a good sign. He has acted quite aggressively towards the little one, but I do want to open the box. It's super important that we do get them together. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm here if anything bad. So yeah, I think we need to take that risk and let's see how it goes. So I'm just going to open the latch here. Okay. Hello, sweetheart. Yeah. Okay, it's coming. Okay, so we want to see it. Okay, all right. Yeah, let's get you back in the box, I think. You're a strong, independent woman. Okay. It's all right, that's fine. So even though that this looks horrific, it is super important. Banded mongoose are troop-structured animals. If I was just to release one into the wild, absolutely they would die. And we have to make sure that they are a nice, cohesive troop. Gently. Gently. That's it, gently. Stay on the floor. He's not doing actually anything to you. He's not. Be brave. Yes. So actually, even though this looks a little bit crazy, this is not going badly at all. There have been no teeth that have been used at all. The little female is being submissive to a point. She's just very scared. But if this male wanted to hurt her, he would, and he hasn't. So even all that noise that was going on before, now they're actually face to face. It's not too bad, and I don't think it's going to take so long before they'll be best of friends. Is it safer up here? Come on, it's not that bad. We are done for today. It went amazingly, happy, and we'll do again tomorrow. Come on then.
Over the next few weeks, Emma will continue to introduce the little orphan to the older mongoose in rehab. And in time, they'll create a new troop that can eventually be released back into the wild, together as a family. Down at Wild and Free on the banks of the Crocodile River, one newborn is in critical condition. Deirdre Ubad receives an emergency arrival of a baby bushbuck found injured and alone near a building site.
We've got a baby bushbuck that I just picked up. I couldn't find Mom. It's dehydrated.
With temperatures already reaching over 45 degrees, her weak condition could soon become fatal.
I need to hydrate him immediately. With the heat today, they dehydrate so fast. And then their blood sugar falls, and it fits, and then he dies. He's already panting. Come, Papa. Come.
To reduce stress and outside stimulus, Deirdre covers the baby's eyes with a towel.
I close the eyes. There you go. The foreman phoned me and said to me, Mom was there 2 days ago. He kept an eye on her, and then he saw the baby.
With limited food and water available due to the current drought, it's not uncommon for mothers to abandon their young.
Come on, Papa. Come on. Come on. Come on. Just see, he couldn't stand properly. You see, this is a problem. He doesn't stand properly on his legs, and it might be from hydration or maybe a spinal injury. But let's hydrate first. We try to give them as much hydration in as possible. If he wasn't responsive, then we would have done subcutaneous injections. But he's responsive, he's swallowing well, so we don't need to do the injections. He is definitely about 5-6 days old because the umbilical cord is already dried up. You see, as soon as the eyes open, you stop sucking.
These highly agile antelopes are able to jump nearly 2 meters in the air to evade predators, so unable to walk and without its mother, this orphan wouldn't have lasted long in the wild.
Yeah, he is extremely stressed, so I think we have to now let him be. Okay, Baba, okay. I'm going to put him in the VIP room to cool down and then check up on him in a half an hour. He's still not out of trouble, so yeah. Stress can kill them.
The next 48 hours will be critical for this baby bushbuck. If it survives, Deirdre is concerned a more severe injury is preventing it from walking. One little orphan has made an incredible recovery. The little baby bushbuck that was so close to death now has a new lease for life.
This is little Bambi. She's now about 3 months old. And she's doing very well, extremely well.
X-rays revealed that her inability to walk was more severe than initially thought.
She had an injury on her leg, which was broken. It was broken at the femur, so it must be just after birth. Something got hold of her and just broke her leg.
After 6 weeks of cage rest and regular visits to the local vet, Bambi was finally released into this larger enclosure where she can now start exercising and putting weight back on her leg.
You will see she's still limping a little bit. She still walks on her tippy toes. She'll probably walk like that for the rest of her life, but it's fine. She can run fast, she can forage well, and she will have babies one day, which is ultimately our goal. So she is releasable, and that's a great success story.
Bambi will spend the next month here until she's fully weaned off milk and strong enough to survive on her own. But she has company. She shares her enclosure with some baby warthogs that recently arrived at the center, after also losing their mothers. Here they can eat, sleep, and play together until they are ready to be released back into the wild. Deirdre Joubert has hand-raised this African palm swift after it was abandoned when it was just a few days old.
I had him now for 2.5 months, but he was a little skinny little baby, full of fluff. So yeah, he's doing very well. You'll see there's a special method to feed them.
Unlike other birds, swifts need to be hand-fed every day until their release.
Come, you have to get the mealworm in. He doesn't love mealworms, but unfortunately he has to get that in. One thing that people do as well, if they get birds, they try to force feed them by opening up the beak. These ones you can't force feed. You will break its jaw and then you have to euthanize them. That's unfortunately just the reality of untrained people trying to save an animal where they do more harm.
As well as feeding him, Deirdre also has to keep the swift hydrated.
Danger is you can get water into the lungs, you can just drown them. That's why you see I do water in a little spoon, just put it in front of him and he drinks it himself.
Unfortunately, people just trying to help have drowned the majority of orphaned chicks Deirdre receives.
It's human nature to want to start feeding them or just give them water. All that I ask them is keep them warm and get it to us as soon as possible. Come, Baba. Are you full, Baba? His progress is good. We'll probably release him next week. He's picked up nice weight. If you have a look at the wings, when they come in, the wings are still straight. If it starts crossing like this, I would say another week, then the growth is more than enough when it crosses like that for him to be released. That's usually our indicator, is the wings crossing.
In the next week, it'll be time for this African palm swift to take flight for the first time and join a migratory colony. Back down at Wild and Free, another orphan is also ready for their release. The baby swift is finally strong enough to take to the air for the first time and join a migratory colony.
This little swift is ready to go. I've hand raised him for 2 months. He has made it, and once I throw him in the air and he takes flight, he will probably not come back to earth. He will fly for the rest of his life.
Swifts feed, mate, and even sleep in the air.
They've got the ability to rest half of their brain by closing just one eye and the other one is open in flight.
It's time for this little orphan to take to the skies.
Go well, little one.
This fast-flying migratory bird will spend the rest of its life in the air, reaching speeds of more than 160 kilometers per hour.
Once you release them, the males never come back to earth. The females only come down to have the eggs and the young. Seeing them back and the others joining him, it is amazing. And you can even see them playing in the wind. I love it. That's why I rehab, is to see this. He's happy. That's where they belong. It's back into the wild.
Emma Dayaga and Catherine Lister from Umoya Kulula Wildlife Center arrive at a secret location to check on 2 very special orphans.
So these 2 male pangolins have just come down from Johannesburg. Hello, little one. Hello, good morning. So they were both rescued from the trade. And they've undergone treatment up there, and now they've come down for their rehab. Hello, sweetheart. Do you want to take the blankets? Pangolins are the most trafficked animal in the world. They are used for their scales here, which are actually just keratin, which is the same as our fingernails, but they're used in traditional medicines. So they get poached from the wild and then sent overseas. So he was one of the lucky ones. He is a little boy. He's a good few years old. Not sure what he weighs, but we'll have a look now. So if he's eating well and healthy, we'll be able to release him really soon. There we go, thank you.
Only once both pangolins can maintain a weight of around 12 kilograms will they be ready for release.
6.47.
The condition of their scales, claws, and overall health is recorded and updated throughout their rehabilitation.
And lastly, we're just going to record his behaviour. He's actually quite friendly. Normally, a pangolin's defence mechanism, they will roll up into a ball. So he's quite relaxed around us, which is a good sign, and it makes it easier for us to walk in tonight.
Being a nocturnal, solitary animal, very little is known about pangolins, except that they're highly territorial. So despite arriving together, these 2 males will be kept separate during their time in rehab.
So again, he looks really healthy. His eyes are very bright. His colour is great. Also, they're quite smelly creatures. He smells like a normal pangolin.
Pangolins mark their territories with urine and are even known to urinate over themselves to stay clean and cool off.
So I'm going to put this little one back to bed so they can get a nice sleep, and then we'll come back later so we can take them for the first feeding. Okay, so good night, sleep well, and I'll see you a bit later.
Pangolins don't feed in captivity, so later tonight, Emma and Catherine will take them on their first night walk to see if they'll forage for ants and termites. As the sun sets, it's time for Emma and Catherine to take the 2 male pangolins who were recently rescued from the illegal wildlife trade for their first feed.
We are just going to pop all his tags and lights on so we can walk him at nighttime now. So we've got a telemetry tag here and satellite, and then his little light also, so we can see him in the dark, because these guys are nifty. All right, you ready, sweetheart?
Pangolins are surprisingly fast, so they are both fitted with a night light which allows Emma and Catherine to keep track of them in the dark and give the pangolins space to forage. While the satellite tags will provide Emma and researchers with invaluable data on the pangolins' movements, feeding patterns, and territories. Being males, it's important these two pangolins are kept separate, even when feeding.
As these two are males, me and Catherine tonight are not going to walk together. We're going to walk separately as they are territorial animals. So I'm going this way and you're going that way. Okay.
Seeing or even smelling each other while foraging could put them off eating. One of the biggest issues with rehabilitating pangolins is that they're very fussy eaters. Both the size and abundance of ants and termites needs to be just right, which means there's a lot of walking. Pangolins are bipedal. Their long curved claws on their front feet are specialized for digging, so they walk on their hind legs and use their tail for balance.
You know, you look at their body shape almost and you don't think they'd be fast at all, you think they'd be very slow, but they can be gone in an instant and they can be very, very quiet. So it's so important that we have these lights and these satellites on them, because not only are we saving these guys, but we're also trying to learn about them and collect data on them so we can go forward and save as many as possible.
While Emma's pangolin continues to smell out the right nest, it appears Catherine's has struck gold. Once a nest is found, pangolins use their sharp front claws to excavate the opening. Without teeth, they use their sticky tongue, which is longer than their entire body, to slurp up the ants and termites. Each nest raid lasts around a minute, and they eat nearly 90 times per night.
We walk them every night, and some of them walk for 2 hours, some of them walk as much as 5 hours. It really just depends on how many ants they're finding and when their belly's full.
Emma, Catherine, and the volunteers will continue to take the two pangolins out each night to feed. Once they've reached their target weight, Emma will find a safe release site far away from any humans, where they can be released back into the wild where they belong. As well as keeping the baby animals well fed during their rehabilitation, it's also vital to keep them healthy from disease and infection, even the venomous ones. Over at the Hood-Sprayed Reptile Center, Director Chris Cook and Dr. Jess Briner need to administer medicine to one of Africa's most dangerous snakes. Puff adders are slow-moving ambush hunters that rely on their excellent camouflage to hunt frogs and rats. They wait motionless, sometimes for days at a time, waiting for prey to walk by, or dead prey to be delivered. Once in range, the puff adder unleashes one of the fastest strikes in the world, injecting its venom through long 20mm fangs. Due to its incredible camouflage and reluctance to flee, this viper is responsible for hundreds of thousands of snake bites every year in southern Africa. Today, Chris and Jess are concerned about a juvenile puff adder that arrived at the center just a few weeks ago.
Reptiles naturally carry a burden of parasites. Wild snakes have a much higher parasite load than captive ones. So we do routine fecal samples where we look under a microscope, identify parasites in the feces, and then we have to deworm the snake.
But before they can administer the medicine, they first need to weigh it.
We're busy with this specific puff adder because he's losing weight, and I'm worried that he might have a parasite infestation. So we're deworming today. It's called a parasite flush. We use a cocktail of different drugs, and I need the weight to give him the accurate dosage.
While Jess prepares the medicine, it's up to Chris to secure the snake.
With this particular snake, we've always got to be really careful because it's such a fast-striking snake.
Despite being a juvenile, this puff adder can still inject huge volumes of potent cytotoxic venom that could cost Chris a hand, a leg, or even his life.
Snake's probably about 2, maybe 3 years old. But you can see here the body condition of the snake starting to get a little bit concerning. We shouldn't really, on a healthy, fit puff adder, be able to see the backbone like what we can see here.
When necking the snake, there's no room for error.
It's a front hinged fanged snake, which means that if I don't have my fingers in the correct position, it can bite through its bottom jaw and onto my hand.
Even when it's secure, this is not a snake to underestimate.
It's a snake that is, statistically speaking, one of the most dangerous snakes in the country, if not the most. It bites more people than any other snake, and it's very important that we use these in our presentations to show people that they're really not bad. Many puff adders are needlessly killed every single year, and really it's unnecessary. What makes our job so tricky is that, yes, a lot of the animals that we work with can harm people in certain scenarios. So we really try our best to dispel the myths and the misconceptions and educate people so that they don't try and kill the animals.
Before Chris loses his grip, Jess inserts the lubricated tube down into the snake's stomach to administer the deworming solution.
So obviously with these guys, distance is key for me, which is why I use the tweezers and not my fingers to run the tube in.
Okay, there's one fang coming out. Okay, go whenever you're ready. Yeah. Okay, here comes the meds. This particular snake eats every single week and she continues to lose weight. Yeah, so long as we just continue with the deworming schedule, then she'll be okay. So I just want to keep her raised very slightly, and then I need to try and get that fang back into the mouth before I let the snake go. You can just hold the bottom of the tail there. And all I'm going to do, I actually don't want the other one to come out, but I've got to get this back into the mouth. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, if you can just grab the table. So now this is the most dangerous part. You cannot, as with other snakes, just simply let the snake go. The snake's got such lightning reflexes that if you just were to sort of drop the snake like that, it can turn back really quickly and bite. So I always repin and then release the snake.
Chris and Jess will continue to monitor the youngster's condition over the following weeks. Once it starts putting on weight again, they can find a safe release site and return this puff adder to the wild. It's important that all the rehabilitated orphans are old enough, strong, and healthy before their release, giving them the best chance of survival, especially if they need to fly for the rest of their life. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for people to keep wild baby animals as pets. And while most are rescued in good condition, some can have life-changing injuries. Down at Wild and Free Rehabilitation Center on the banks of the Crocodile River, it's time for Deirdre Hubert and her daughter Dumi to take one very special orphan for her daily exercise. Luca is a 3-month-old serval. These elusive and slender wild cats grow to the size of a greyhound and live in Africa's woodlands and open savanna.
Come, Luca.
Despite a small head, their 2 large ears help detect rodents and small birds in the tall grass. And they use their extraordinarily long legs to pounce onto the unsuspecting prey, often playing with their food before they eat it. It's hard to imagine, but just a few months ago, Luca was fighting for her life. During a harvest, a local farmer discovered 3 serval kittens. While one was sold, the other two were left with the owner's pregnant pit bull. The dog attacked and killed one kitten before turning onto Luca.
She had a broken rib. One lung had 30% capacity, the other one completely collapsed.
Luca remained in critical care for weeks, being drip-fed every hour with regular x-rays and visits to the vet. Today, 3 months later, despite nearly losing her life, Luca is growing into a playful and curious young serval. But she's not out of the woods yet.
A week ago, she couldn't walk. She was completely lame in the back legs. Even her tail didn't even move.
Initially masked by her life-threatening injuries, it was only recently discovered that Luca is also suffering from a vitamin B1 deficiency.
These feeds are very important, obviously, for her to pick up weight. We've got her supplements in there, and we're teaching her basically how to eat now.
As well as her protein-rich diet and daily injections, Luca must exercise 2 hours a day to help rebuild her strength. So, Deirdre's daughter, Tumi, is more than happy to help out with play therapy.
It's super great to raise babies that got either abandoned or people picked them up, because each new animal, I learn new things with my mom, and I get to feed them and watch them grow up.
These simple games of cat and mouse are the perfect training program to teach Luca how to hunt in the wild.
Baby animals that just got abandoned from their mums can't feed themselves and keep themselves warm, because that's why a mother is there. So yeah, I think the job that we do is pretty amazing.
Luca's injuries were so severe, most orphans wouldn't have survived. But Deirdre knew she couldn't give up.
To see her improve is the most rewarding thing you can ever see. Any animal that you really fought for, and you could see that animal still got that fighting spirit, and you fight with that animal, and you pull it through, it's the most rewarding thing.
Once Luca is strong enough to hunt and survive on her own, she will be released back into the wild, something Tumi is preparing herself for.
Well, I feel sad in the beginning, but in the end, I know it's the right place where they're supposed to be. When I'm older, I might become a vet, because I also want to be like my mom and help animals that can't look after themselves.
As for Deirdre, Luca has become her inspiration.
Everything that happened to her, and she's kept on fighting. And I learned a lot of lessons through the animals I rehabilitate. We mustn't give up. You've got the will to live. You can make anything happen. To see animals that suffered and to pull them through and see them start running, start being a serval like Luca is, it's extremely rewarding. And one day to know you can release them back into the wild that's why I do rehabbing for these days.
As Luca continues to rebuild her strength, ready for a life back in the wild, 3 other servals are about to be released. Situated in the shadows of the majestic Drakensberg Mountains, we find Moholoholo. Here, Brian Jones and his team of highly trained staff have been helping care for injured and orphaned animals of all shapes and sizes for the past 30 years. And today, the team are releasing 3 young female servals that arrived here as kittens after they were handed in by local farmers. Now weaned off milk and old enough to hunt for themselves, they've spent the last stage of their rehabilitation in this large enclosure to rewild.
We've kept minimal contact with the servals in their enclosure because you don't want them to get used to people. So if I go in there, they'll actually run away from you. They don't want to be close to you.
Which is going to make catching them rather tricky.
We must just be quiet.
To reduce any stress on the animals, only Brian enters the enclosure to set the traps. He needs to be as quick and quiet as possible. If the servals get spooked, this will all be for nothing.
You can't just expect to trap these servals on the first night, so they have to get used to the trap cage first. So what we've been doing is been feeding these servals in these trap cages for about a week.
Can you see what's happening here? I'll show you now. This is the weights that have got to stay up here. Open the trap. I put that pin underneath it like that, very sensitive. Then he comes in and the dove will be hanging in there. See now when they pull this, the gate closed. You see that?
To help entice the servals inside, bait is secured to the trigger pin.
Hopefully that'll work.
One trap set, 2 more to go.
See them running up and down. I'll do this one now. Do you see now we're hanging the meat up? So when he walks in, he's got to put pressure on that pressure trap. So when he pulls this, he's going to put all the weight on his front legs to make that, that'll make that go off, hopefully. You see how wild this guy is? That's why it's a candidate for going back to the wild. Let's just check this one now as well.
Once the third and final trap is set, all they can do is wait.
There's no guarantee in this sort of thing so whatsoever. It's a hit and miss, so they know the trap. They're very clever.
No one's allowed to be around those servals or around that area, otherwise they're not going to get caught.
We must all get out of here totally. And then hopefully they'll start to investigate and then we'll see what we can catch.
With no one in sight, the servals slowly begin to emerge from hiding. Once all 3 servals are captured, it's now a race against time to get them to the release site. Nikita uses a blanket to reduce the outside stimulus and keep the servals calm while inside these smaller cages.
Now let's just see. Now he's got to run into here, so we've got to undo this little door and hopefully he'll jump through. You ready? Okay.
Do you want that open?
This one can come now.
Each serval is then transferred to a transport crate, loaded and ready to go. The stress, movement, and hot temperatures during transport can kill some animals.
We'll have to get going fast. Very close this. Okay.
So there is no time to waste. With the precious cargo on board, the team head off to the serval's new home. Back over at Moholoholo, Brian and the team arrive at the release site with the 3 female servals. Despite the stress and the heat of the journey, all 3 have made it safely and are ready to be set free back into the wild. This large private nature reserve has plenty of space for the servals to find a territory of their own, where they can live, hunt, and hopefully find a mate. But most importantly, they'll be far away from any humans. This 5,000-hectare reserve borders the Kruger National Park and has become a new home for many of the animals Brian's rehabilitated.
We've released a whole lot of leopard here, spotted hyenas, servets, honey badgers, all sorts. And hopefully they'll go into the Kruger itself or stay here, because it's the ideal habitat for servals.
Despite growing up together, servals are shy, solitary creatures, and once free, each female will establish their own territory, living alone until it's time to start a family. For all the centers, these are the moments that they strive for, to rescue, rehabilitate, and release these wild animals back into the wild.
All the work that the volunteers and the staff have put into Mohololo for saving little animals makes this worth it. Yeah, it really adds a capping stone.
Seeing these servals getting released, it's amazing. It's the best part of my job is seeing these releases, knowing that you've done something good and you've given this animal the second chance of life. It's just an amazing feeling to see them go.
Is saying goodbye to one prickly young orphan.
Hi, Kelly. Come on. Luna, come.
Luna is a 6-month-old porcupine. Hand-raised since birth, she was kept as a pet, and being imprinted on humans has drastically lowered her chances of being released.
She likes being scratched by her ears, by her arms. I'm just a bit scared. Sometimes she bites and she's got a very powerful bite and she can actually take your finger off.
Fully grown, porcupines are Africa's largest rodents, and in the wild, they forage for roots and vegetables, which makes them a target for farmers.
This is a big problem we have with wild animals being hand-raised, because that means she's very, very used to people. If we had to release her, she'll end up at the wrong place, get bitten by a dog, end up by the wrong farmer, get shot.
Being an unprotected species, farmers don't require a permit to shoot porcupines on site. But luckily for Luna, Moholoholo has secured a release site on a private nature reserve where there are no farms or humans. And in case she runs into any predators, Luna has her own built-in defenses. Her body is covered with sharp, sturdy quills, reaching up to 30 centimeters long. When threatened, porcupines don't fire their quills, but charge backwards, dislodging them into their victim. And any quills lost in an attack will grow back. During her last few days in rehab, Luna makes the most of the free buffet.
Her favourite food, the way to her heart, is corn and then apples. That's her most favourite food. She also gets spinach and lettuce and butternuts. She's a very, very spoiled porcupine.
In the next few days, Luna will be free and experience the wild for the first time in her life. Over at Moholoholo, it's time for Luna the porcupine to be set free for the first time in her life. Brian Jones, owner of Moholoholo, has secured the perfect release site in this 5,000-hectare private nature reserve.
This is the ideal place to release porcupine. It's very bushy, lots of trees and lots of food for him. I don't think you'd find a better place.
Here, Luna will be safe from any humans and be able to rewild in this natural habitat.
Put it down there, facing downwards. Turn around, that's it. I'll put it down there, that's fine.
So this is basically the most joyful part of my job, is seeing these guys go back into the natural habitat where they belong, not to live in captivity for the rest of their lives.
It's time to open up the door. After a lifetime in captivity, it's a daunting world out there.
It's okay, Gilly. Yeah, it's really sad to see her go, but it's really nice to see her go into her natural environment again.
With one last glance, Luna disappears into the bush, wild and free.